All right, what's going on? It is the OCPD coach here, and I want to show you all something pretty cool. I want to show you something that I actually use on a daily basis now for task management, and that is this cool little tool called JIRA. Now, JIRA is something that is very complicated if you try to get into the weeds of it. It definitely can get very complicated if you try to get too deep into the program. But if you focus on the tasks that you want to do and the system that you have created around the task and your processes, then it actually is really easy to use and pretty straightforward. And I actually used to use something called Trello for years and years and years. But I switched over to Jira once I started using it at my job. We were using it, and it was very good for me because it was very structured. Everything made sense. The search feature made sense. When I was using Trello, it was too loose. I think I had to use checklists, and I really just didn't. I didn't really like it as much. So let's just hop right in. So I created an account already. I have a board already. I already have some of this stuff, but I did want to see if I created a new project, if I can go ahead and just walk you all through the basic process. So as I mentioned, I already have an account. I didn't want to start from the home page because I have some confidential tickets and names in here, and I don't want all of that showing. But let's just see if we can get something started. So I went ahead to new projects, and we have here software development, plan, track, and release great software. Get up and running with templates that suit the way your team works, plus integrations for DevOps teams that want to connect across their entire tool chain. That's interesting. I'm a DevOps engineer, and I'm actually interested to see how that works. But let's go ahead and see. So the one that I like to use is Scrum. Scrum comes with a board, which I always do 2 week increments of sprints, which is just 2 weeks worth of work basically. And all of the 2 weeks worth of work will be present on that board. They have a backlog, which this is all of the work that you are not doing right now. So let's say if I know I want to work on releasing something for the OCPD coach brand, but it's not something I can do everything in 2 weeks. It's not a project that I can complete in 2 weeks. I could actually create tickets that would fall outside of that 2 week window, and all of those tickets would fall in the backlog. Or I could create additional sprints that are coming up after the sprint I'm in and place them in there. But I'll show you how all that works. And timeline, which basically if you plan the whole thing out, it just gives you an estimate on when all of the tickets could be completed. So let's hop into Scrum. I'm not gonna go through all of this, but what I will tell you is that, excuse me, I use epics and I believe it's tasks. But as you can see, there are a bunch of different types of issue types. And each one is just broken down from the one above it. So epic is the largest type of ticket you can do, and subtask is the smallest. But let's just hop right in. So select the project type. Alright, use template. You'll need to create a new project if you decide to switch project types later. Alright, so we'll do this, and I'm going to do team manage. Yeah, we'll do. This part is less about me because I don't have a team, it's just me, but I'm just checking this out just to see. Okay, so let's say OCPD coach. And for the key, I just make it OCPD. And the key is what you'll see for the project all across the tickets. So if you have multiple projects, you'll have multiple different keys, and you'll just want to keep an eye out for that. Let's go ahead and type this in. And by the way, if I haven't mentioned, I did mention, but I am the OCPD coach. And what I am is I'm a behavioral coach for specializing in individuals who have OCPD. Sorry, it's very late here, and I was up super late, but yeah. So this is one of the things that helped me out with staying organized, actually seeing projects through, because I got to see it from start to finish and realistically could understand what I was doing and set expectations for myself and people I decided to work with. So yeah, I just wanted to do that. So connect tools to power your project features. So I am going to connect the space because I think this is really cool. Enter name of space. So let's just say so I'm going to create OCPD and connect. Now let's see what happens. All right, your work is now connected. So I'll open this in another tab and I will go to project. And bam, there it is. So now this is going to be my main page right here. So I always recommend pages like this, since this will be a static page for the most part, bookmark it. Just bookmark it. Also, I created folders. So if you are like me and as an OCPD person, I have OCD and ADHD. But as an OCPD type person, I actually like to bookmark all types of stuff because I never knew when I might need it. So I had 300, 400 tasks or bookmarks. So what I did was I actually broke down the bookmarks into folders and sorted it like that. And I just wanted to show this one of my methods that actually helps me keep things organized. So anything OCPD coach related stuff, I put it in here. And then I have some other general stuff that I also use as well. But yeah, I save this. And this is going to be your board that you will be working off of. But as you can see, there's nothing in here right now. So let me show you something that you would do to actually create tickets. So I'm going to hop over to the backlog. And you see we have nothing in here right now. But let's go ahead, and the first thing I want to do is I'm going to create a ticket first. It is going to be the OCPD coach project. The issue type I'm going to do is going to be a story. Yep, that's fine. We can do a story. And status is to do. And let's just say generate 2 tickets. So that's what I'm going to tell myself the task is. You can put a description here. So with the description, I could say, again, it's pretty self-explanatory to generate 2 tickets. Now, in the technology world, especially in Agile, we actually want to have what we call acceptance criteria for any tickets that we create. And acceptance criteria is just what we actually will use to measure if the task is complete. So although this says generate 2 tickets, that's the work I need to do. But the acceptance criteria will be 2 tickets have been created and are visible in the backlog or current sprint. So you can make this whatever you want to be, but the basis of the acceptance criteria is to actually make, it's really a SMART goal without it being time boxed in the acceptance criteria. But yeah, it needs to be a goal that is actually measurable. So we need to be able to say, okay, what defines this as a done ticket? So that's what I put here. And I actually made separate acceptance criteria fields outside of description just because I always wanted to have that reminder to do that, because that is going to be crucial to making this work. If you don't have the acceptance criteria, a lot of times our brains, when we try to make things perfect, we keep increasing the scale of difficulty for the ticket or the work to the point where having a ticket to capture the work becomes pointless because you just keep changing the scope of it. So just have the acceptance criteria. Do not change the acceptance criteria for the ticket. If you need to add additional things, create a new ticket. That way you still get credit for this work and you are seeing the progress of what you're doing. So that's that. As for assignee, I'll say assignee to me. And if I click sprint, you see they actually created a sprint for me. You can see it right here, OCPD sprint 1. So I'm going to put it in sprint 1 and show you what happens there. Now is the thing that I think this is very subjective to whoever you are, how you use task management software. But story point estimates can be your best friend. What story point estimates allow you to do is actually guess how much effort this ticket is going to take. So I know my team, we actually use a scale of 1 through 8. It's a Fibonacci sequence, which it's the numbers 1, 3, 5, and 8. Typically, if you have a ticket that's going to be an 8, that means the ticket is too large and you need to split it up into subtasks. You with JIRA or project management, stuff like this, you never want to have these gigantic tickets. You want to have smaller chunks of work so that you can continue the momentum of progress being made, and not think you're stuck on a ticket for 2 weeks or however long it's going to be. And as I mentioned before, a sprint is a 2-week increment. So every 2 weeks, you would start a sprint, and you might actually be able to change the length of a sprint inside of Jira. Like it's highly customizable. But yeah, as I mentioned, the story point estimate. So for this, I'm going to say this is a 1-point ticket because this is like minimal work. I just need to create some tickets. You have other things inside of here. You can put attachments. You can say that the work here can't be done until another ticket's work is done. All types of stuff. Labels is really cool. But what I'm going to do is create this ticket. Bang. That is my first ticket. And if I go to my board, I don't think this sprint has started yet. Yeah, so you see it's still not here. And the reason why it's not here yet is because this sprint has not been started. So you see the start sprint button, once I hit start sprint button will actually move this work to the board, and that'll be the sprint we're in. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and start the sprint. And here we go, duration. So we work in the tech world that I'm part of right now. We do 2-week sprints, which I really enjoy because you get to space out your work and kind of jump from one thing to the next. You can do it however you decide, but I wouldn't recommend more than 2 weeks, and I really don't know what 1 week work looks like. It might be possible, but it might just be a little too much admin of you having to go in and create all these new sprints and new tickets and all that stuff. So it's up to you depending on how you like to do it, and you change the date, start date, end date, however you want to do it. And I can have a sprint goal. So I'll say my sprint goal is to get familiar with JIRA. That's my sprint goal. We'll go ahead and start it. All right, now you see this is that board page that we were back on, and now you see we are inside of our sprint. We have 10 days remaining, so that's pretty cool that it shows us this. And I have a to-do tab. So these are tickets that I have not started yet. Once I start a ticket, I'll move it to in progress, and then the final stage is done. And that's really as simple as it needs to be, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually walk you through me doing a task and finishing it. So let's say generating 2 tickets. I'll move that to in progress because I'm actually about to start working on this right now. So I'm going to say design thumbnail for JIRA tutorial video, and I'm going to put here AC, and image has been created that will be used as YouTube thumbnail video. Image meets YouTube's thumbnail standards, and that is enough acceptance criteria. And then it's really cool, man. So I can grab these and just turn them into bullet points, just like that. Really simple. And again, I'm going to assign this to me. I'm going to put this into the current sprint. And I'm actually curious if I click this. Yeah, so if you don't click anything, this should go to the backlog. So I want this to go to the backlog so I can show you how to move something from the backlog to the board. The estimate for this will say that's a 3 because that would require a good amount of work. And I'll go ahead and create this. And you see it doesn't show up here, and that is because it is right here in the backlog. So what I like to do, kind of lazy, but I like to just make it where I don't have to continuously copy a lot of the same information. So you can actually right click on a ticket, and no, you can't. You actually have to click on the ticket, and when you click on the ticket, you can click the three dots up here and then do a clone. So this is going to clone the ticket and all of the values. And then for this one, I can say write description for your tutorial video. So that's the new name of it. It's going to take a second to clone it. Clone is complete. I can either open it here or refresh the page. So I'll refresh the page. All right, so there we go. This is the second one. So let's update our acceptance criteria to say a description has been generated for YouTube video of JIRA tutorial. And I will say description meets YouTube standards also. We want to make sure we don't have anything inappropriate inside of there. Okay, so now you can see I have 2 tickets in the backlog. And let's say I want to go ahead and start working on these tickets, because if I go to my board, I have done the work here. So generate 2 tickets, I have done it. Let's go ahead and move that to done. Love it. That ticket is done. We can go back to our backlog now, and we'll see, actually, let me stay here. We'll see we have no more work. We need more work. So we'll go back to our backlog, and here we can simply drag this up. We'll try again. Simply drag it up. Oh, you have to drop it like above or below, so that's on me. So it's telling me that the scope is going to be impacted. So this is really important. When we were talking about this, the points, the amount of points, the story points that it would take to complete a ticket, these are actually useful because as you continue to do sprints, you'll actually get averages. You'll get metrics on how many points you're actually able to complete each sprint, which is really cool if you're the type of person where you like to say, how much work do I typically get done? And this is where you really get to optimize your performance, because let's say if you realize you're only able to accomplish 6 total points, that's 6 points across all tickets total in a sprint. Now going forward, you probably can't bring in 2 5-point tickets at the same time, because it's 10 points and you probably won't be capable of doing that comfortably. So it's really important to pay attention to that scope and try to make sure you're not jacking your numbers up. But this is fine because we know what we're doing. We didn't bring enough work in for this to be a 2-week sprint anyway. So let's bring that in. And then what I'm going to do is this right description. I notice it is at 3 points. This is really more of a 1-point ticket. So let's bring this down to 1. Not 31. What? All right, 1 point. All right, there we go. So now let's bring that in as well. Drop it in. Yep. So now we go back to our board. We got our new tickets and to do. And JIRA is really this simple. And so, yeah, let me go ahead and let's just say I did one of these tickets and I didn't do the other ticket. Let's just say I didn't finish this. But the sprint is over. We're going to act like we're fast forwarding and jumping in time and complete the sprint. So what it'll ask you to do is it'll say, hey, you have a ticket remaining, or you have tickets remaining. What do you want us to do with those tickets that you have left? And I can either move them over to a brand new sprint. So this would be the sprint that I probably start up soon, or move them to the backlog, which would mean that they are not in any sprint right now. So in this case, I would just automatically move it to the next sprint if it's still in my, still inside of my to-do list. So let's go ahead and do complete sprint. And as you see, sprint 1 is no longer active, but we now have sprint 2. And all of the tickets that we did, they are no longer there. But there are ways to actually find all of the tickets you did. I don't want to mess anything up and show anything confidential on here, so I might make that a separate video, but there are ways to actually see the work you did. So next thing I want to show you is project pages. So project pages, this is really cool. So the reason why I wanted to set up the page with Confluence is because if you're like me, you always have loads and loads and loads of ideas. Your brain is always going. You're always trying to think how you can make something better, or trying to analyze different things. Well, this is really cool because you can actually create documents in here, and they can be Word documents or whatever it might be. And that's not the right button. Oh, this is cool. I've never seen this pop up on the right before. That's actually really helpful. It's just too much stuff popping up. But yeah, if I were to go to blank page here, I could literally say, create, video list for YouTube. And I could start just typing in here some topics. Do you have OCPD? How did you learn about OCPD? Am I an a-hole? Probably not. All right, so you can do something like this and you can publish it. And we publish it. By the way, JIRA is all internal. So nobody else has access to this stuff unless you invite them to your team. So all of this stuff is private for you. But as you've seen, I was able to create a page, and now I have this page here. And I could take the link right here and go to timeline. Go to backlog. And I could say write description here. I could add a comment, let's say, and say description should also provide a list of upcoming videos for users to vote on. And I just paste the link in there. Now you see I have my page, and my page is just right here. So yeah, that's JIRA. I hope I covered everything that you all might need. As I mentioned, it's a free tool to use. I'm on a free plan. Been on a free plan for a while, and I've had no issues. The only time I had to pay was when I wanted to bring somebody into my into the fold, and I wanted to have certain files private from them. If you wanted to do something like that, you actually do need to pay for that extra service. But I do hope that this helps somebody. Actually, I've got a bunch of different resources, some books I've been picking up for OCPD, and a couple of different workbooks for. I've got an OCPD workbook. I've got a cognitive based training workbook. Just these different workbooks that stimulate the mind and help you think a little bit differently. But this is something that I do. So I wanted to show you some of my tactics that have worked for me. And hopefully, as I mentioned, hopefully it helps you. So just to wrap this video up, if you are somebody who suffers from OCPD, or you have some of the traits of OCPD and you need some assistance, you can reach out to me directly at TheOCPDCoach@gmail.com. If you have any questions that I can help you out with, as far as how to use JIRA, or maybe you want to know about ChatGPT and how ChatGPT could be useful if you have OCPD, reach out to me. You can also drop comments in the videos. That helps me out so that I can see them on the videos, and we can get that engagement going and get some more eyes on this content. So yeah, I hope this helped you out, and I will see you next time. OCPD Coach out. Peace.